as of this morning, this 40-mile convoy of Russian troops and Russian tanks and munitions and fuel, they're only 18 miles outside of Kyiv. And let me tell you, when I look at that, I'm thinking, this is about to it's about to go to the next level. And I pray to God Almighty I'm wrong. And the next level would be a massacre. And the next level would be the toppling of the government of Kyiv. The next level will mean thousands upon thousands and likely tens of thousands of people dead. And that might be on the low side. That's what I fear the most now. See on satellite imagery where the convoy is. I don't know. Maybe some smart country, maybe NATO might take some of their fighter jets, or maybe they can use some drone strikes and take out the whole damn convoy. And then nobody takes credit for it. So then Putin won't know who to hit back. Well, he's threatening nuclear weapons. Hannity, you talk about nuclear war. I'm not talking about nuclear war, nor would I support one American boot on the ground here. But at what point is this going to end?
There is a case to be made that he might, in fact, be the dumbest person on TV. I don't think that he generally has that reputation. There are some people who are more obviously blowhards and all that. But to be clear, Sean Hannity's plan for the convoy, which we're all incredibly worried about the implications of what that convoy will be used for, is that US or NATO should just attack it and pretend, hey, no, I was totally at the bowling alley. I couldn't have been me. I have an alibi. And he thinks risking open warfare with Russia, he even identifies that nuclear warfare is a possible consequence, but he brushes that off. We'll just say it wasn't us. Then what do you think? Did we get away with it? Is it, as Jordan Uhl labeled, the perfect crime?
It's just unbelievable. Okay, because like first and foremost, right? Like we can't. There's no way to magically like, I mean, think about it. Okay, airplanes take off from somewhere. Airplanes take off from somewhere that like everybody can kind of see, and it's not like stealth fighter jets. I know we had to explain this to Trump a few years ago, so now I guess we have to explain to Sean Hannity. They're not invisible, right? We don't have invisible planes. That's not a thing, right? You can see planes in the air, even if they're really fast stealth fighter jets. It just means that like radar can't see them under certain circumstances, right? So like people would get the idea. They would see aircraft leaving like the air bases, right, in like Western Europe, and they could put 2 and 2 together there. It's not that complicated, not that difficult.
It's called stealth. Look it up. They're beautiful, or they would be if I could see them. It's Sean Hannity like considers himself an intelligent person. That is such a wildly dangerous thing to suggest. Now, thankfully, Trump is not in power. I don't think Trump would follow the advice in this particular case anyway, but Biden definitely isn't going to. But that is just madness. And look, Hannity saying, let's assassinate Putin, then let's attack his forces. He does have an audience in the millions. They are going to gradually wonder why we're not doing stuff like this. They're going to be frustrated with Biden because he's not being openly hostile enough against a regime that has thousands of nuclear weapons. This is wildly dangerous. Anyway, you could see here, by the way, they have had a good amount of success in Ukraine at destroying vehicles. I don't believe there have been a lot of open attacks on the convoy, but you can see here a shot of a big stretch of vehicles that had in fact been destroyed. And then in the case of the actual convoy, it is believed to have been stalled for some time now. Actually, its advance towards the capital has been much slower than had been predicted a few days earlier, and a lot of credit has been given to the defenders, specifically of Kyiv, saying that they've been putting up very stiff resistance. So again, it's still there. It is still a massive threat. The solution, though, is not open warfare against Russia, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, literally, why bring in like NATO aircraft when you could do something that like a little sugar in a gas tank could do? Like, there's more clever ways to do this, right? And even then, when it comes to the United States' role in this, look, the United States should be trying to de-escalate. There's a lot of things we can do to de-escalate, but that requires look, that requires sacrifice. Like, let's be real. One of the reasons why they're hesitant on oil and gas sanctions is because, that would mean we all pay a little bit extra at the pump. It would suck, right? We would have to deal with that in our economy. But like, what is a little bit of an economic sacrifice for the United States and Western Europe when it comes to saving lives in Ukraine, right? We should be like opening up, we should be putting everything on the table. I saw somebody on Twitter suggesting, hey, what if we offer to take, nukes out of like some specific countries that are like, that are like new NATO countries as part of the expansion, and we wind down, maybe we make promises about like the Biological Weapons Convention. The United States has been opposing inspections in the biological weapons conventions for years that Russia's been calling for.
That's interesting.
We could say, hey, we should be willing to make sacrifices. We should be willing to make sacrifices to do whatever is necessary to get the Russian troops out of Ukraine.
Yeah, no, I think that those are some interesting ideas. And then it shows that there is a lot of room for creativity. A lot of it is going to come down to Putin's frame of mind, his perception of how this is going, and the short and long-term effects of the sanctions. But as we had said earlier, they are starting talks again. It is possible, maybe, that this could potentially wind down. But we're not going to get there if NATO starts bombing Russian tanks. That's just Hannity, just swing and a miss.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.